Hello, welcome to CM Chat for April 10th, 2017. Good to see you. I have some news to share with you today from this week's weekend edition of the CM. Have a lot actually to cover, so let's get right on into it. Approximately 3 p.m. Sunday, Blytheville officers received a report of a non-custodial child abduction of a 1-year-old child named Taraji Johnson. According to Captain Scott Adams, 22-year-old Tanis Numi reported that on April 8, at approximately noon, she received a call from the sister of her child's father, Nyambi Tally, who lives in Blytheville, asking if she could watch the child for a few hours. Numi advised that this was not uncommon and allowed her to do so because she had to go to work. Adams said that approximately 4 p.m., Numi received a call from her mother stating that Tally was there wanting clothes so Tanis could spend the night. Numi advised that she could not, and she would pick up the child after she got off work at about 7 p.m. On Sunday, Numi discovered that the non-custodial father, 23-year-old Kenyatta Tally of Anderson, South Carolina, had the child and was headed to South Carolina, and Nyambi was possibly headed to Little Rock, Adams said. Police have kidnapping warrants out for both Kenyatta Tally and Nyambi Tally. In other news, Blytheville police are conducting a death investigation after a Blytheville man was fatally shot around midnight Friday. According to Blytheville CID Division Commander Captain Scott Adams, police found the victim, 23-year-old Delvin Meadows, slumped over the front steps of a residence in the 2200 block of West Rose. Officers rolled the victim over and discovered that Meadows was deceased, Adams said. Officers observed an obvious injury to his upper chest. A witness advised they had heard gunshots and looked out the window and observed Meadows on the front step. Meadows asked the occupant of the home to contact emergency services, then became unresponsive upon their arrival. Anyone with information regarding this incident is urged to contact Blytheville PD at 763-4411. In other news, Blytheville physician Dr. David Diffenay has been given permission to once again practice medicine within the state of Arkansas. The Arkansas State Medical Board met and dismissed all charges against him Friday. In February, the board issued an emergency order of suspension against Diffenay for allegedly prescribing excessive amounts of pain medication to his patients and for allegedly giving misleading testimony when applying for his Arkansas medical license. Also, officers from the Mississippi County Sheriff's Department were called to County Road 54, otherwise known as Skyline Drive, just north of Gosnell Tuesday afternoon around 4 p.m. in response to a violent incident that occurred, leaving 2 men injured and both men eventually transported to the Med in Memphis. Neither man lives at the residence. When deputies arrived on the scene, they found 2 men injured and needing medical attention. Jonathan McKinney, 41 of Blytheville, had allegedly been stabbed in the stomach with a knife and as a result was transported to Regional 1 Medical Center in Memphis. Friday, he was in critical but stable condition. We have not had an update since then on his condition. The other injured man was 42-year-old Johnny Hood of Gosnell, who suffered cuts to his face and his head, possibly from a glass jar. He was also transported to the Med for medical attention. CID Captain Rob Rounsville said that when Hood arrived at the Med, he showed out and caused a scene and then walked out. He also said the charges are pending. Payless shoe stores have announced that they would be closing nearly 400 stores, including its Blytheville location. This comes as a result of the company filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Within Arkansas alone, there will be 12 Payless shoe stores closing. The closest ones to us that are closing is the one in Blytheville, the one on South Caraway Road in Jonesboro, the one in the Twin City Shopping Center of West Helena, one on Washington Street in Forest City, the one on Harrison in Batesville, the one at the South Point Shopping Center in Sykeston, the one on Lamar in Memphis, and the one on South Highland in Jackson, Tennessee. It also noted that the locations at the mall at Turtle Creek in Jonesboro and the one on West Kings Highway in Paragould will remain open. The truck driver was not injured when his 18-wheeler caught fire on Interstate 55 at the 65-mile marker around 10 p.m. Monday. According to Blytheville Fire Chief Mike Carney, Carney said that when firemen arrived, the cab was fully involved with fire and the blaze had spread to the trailer, which was carrying a large amount of paint. He also said that a truck tire blew, causing a loud noise. Southbound lane was shut down by the Arkansas State Police, and the Blytheville Fire Department used 2 pumper trucks to extinguish the flames. Fire crews were on the scene for about an hour. How about some good news? Students from the Bible School District are once again stood out in the April 1st state competition of the Odyssey of the Mind at Mayflower. One of the competing Blytheville teams actually got fooled when students had all but given up on a World Finals appearance this year. But when the OM competition is held in Lansing, Michigan in late May, the Blytheville Elementary School team will be there. 3 teams from Blytheville participate at the competitive level of the state competition: Blytheville High School, Blytheville Middle School, Blytheville Elementary School. The elementary team will advance to the World Finals beginning May 24th. The Blytheville Elementary team is coached by Curtis Walker Sr. and Curtis Walker Jr. They finished first in Division I of the Ready Set Balsa. Members are Riley Walker, McKinley Walker, Gatsby Langston, Marley Rand, Shamari Cooper, Jawan Brown, and Tyrone Davis. The Blytheville City Council Code Enforcement, Animal Control, and Parks and Recreation Committees met Thursday. Discussed a lot of stuff. I'm just going to hit some real quick highlights for you. But you can get all of the details on all these stories here. I'm not giving you all of the stories on these, so make sure you pick up one of these. When it comes to animal control, one of the things that they're doing different now is they have created a certificate of adoption in order to celebrate when pets are adopted. The department also partnered with Tractor Supply, and for every adoption made, the Tractor Supply company will provide the department with a $25 gift card. So the department walked away with $250 worth of gift cards. Code enforcement, Assistant Police Chief Ricky Jefferson, which is over code enforcement, said that they have been checking alleys and easements, and that's one of the things we've been focused on right now, in addition to updating the condemned list. He said that the lighting project, he gave an update on it, saying that they have lit up North and South Alley on Main Street. 2 new lights are added to 3rd Street, and some other places such as they will be getting new lighting, such as Nelson Park, East Moultrie Street, and areas that are listed on their outage list. He also talked about the fact that they have 2 animal control officers, 1 full-time and 1 part-time, but there are so many animals out right now that they're having to work the part-time employees full-time, and they would need to go make a budget adjustment to cover that. That has been sent to the Finance Committee for their approval. He also said that he's received questions about whether or not debris removal will have the same charges it has in the past, since we have the burn box here at the city. He said there's a question that came up about debris removal since we have the burn box now, if we are still going to charge $150 since it's not going to the landfill anymore, because that's basically what the charge was for. Not just to pick up, but for the landfill also. In the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting, they discussed a lot of stuff. And again, to get the full, but some of the highlights were the fact that it was announced, Parks and Recreation Director Elroy Brown said that they had received a request from Mr. Ray Lawrence, keeper of the Mississippi County Fairgrounds, that since their mower's down and the fair was coming, was asked whether or not the city could help. And it was discussed whether or not, it was discussed within the committee whether or not the city should help, whether or not the city should help only after the rest of the regular mowing had been accomplished. Eventually, they talked about wanting to maintain a healthy, helping relationship between the city and the county. And Councilman Hartsfield said, in essence, that it falls under the jurisdiction and decision of the mayor. And so I don't know that, I wasn't at the meeting, I don't know that anything was resolved other than that the committee said it was the mayor's decision. Brown also moved to the discussion about snakes in Walker Park and their impact on the fishing rodeo that will take place Thursday, May 20th. He said that the snakes should not be a concern for the rodeo, and they haven't been over the last several years. They discussed filling in of the swimming pool at Williams Park. He said it's already been filled, but the question is whether or not they need to go back and cover that or what. The question was raised about a potential grant for the soccer association that would mean that would give the means to construct a concession stand and bathroom, or an update on that rather. John Bennett, a representative of the Blytheville Soccer Association, was called to the table to provide some more information. Ben provided blueprints and pictures and briefly went over plans for a multi-purpose building similar to what the baseball field currently has. While he was there, Bennett also brought forth some concerns he had to the Parks and Recreation Committee. He said that while the association is taking care of providing the funds for their immediate expenditures like equipment and coaching fees, the biggest issue the association faces is having a field with unplayable conditions, and they're asking the committee to potentially provide help with that upkeep. There was some discussion of that. You can get all the dialogue that went on with that by reading the full story. Leslie Hester, director of the Delta Gateway Museum, spoke to the committee about amending her budget in order to help fix a broken window. Fixing a window at a cost of $8,410, and the money, of course, was already there in the budget for that kind of thing. She also said that they were going to have a really busy summer. They had a children's exhibit coming in this summer called Building Buddies. It's going to be a real big children's interactive exhibit that's going to be at the end of this month and run through the end of July. She also reminded that the Smithsonian exhibit during June and July and the Native Culture exhibits is moving along nicely. Arts Council Director David Lytle spoke and gave an update about the Ritz, saying that they're preparing for a very busy month. They're going to have a 3-day run of the giant puppet show that they do, and the various schools from the surrounding area are scheduled to come in for the viewing. There will be a public show on Friday the 21st at 6 p.m. He also announced that on Monday, June 3rd at 7 p.m., there's going to be a free public wind ensemble concert of the United States Air Force Band. Freedom Winds out of Virginia Beach. Tickets go on sale the first week of June. Mr. Brown also said, quote, if anybody knows someone that needs a job from ages 17 to 24, they can be hired through Workforce. And if they qualify, they'll be making $9 an hour working for Workforce, but helping the city. It was also announced that there's some lifeguard positions available. Anyone interested in applying for that for this summer, they need to contact Judy Andrews at 763-3858. In other sporting news, Osceola High School basketball coach Frankie Gathen has resigned his position as a teacher and coach effective June 30th. Also within this edition we have, it's all about the character of the director. It's a feature on Greg Groves. He is a perennial actor / director with Act 2 up at the Ritz here, and it's a pretty good profile about him and directing, and I encourage you to check that out. Quote of the day. I found a quote I liked, and then just below it, the same guy had a second quote I liked, so I put them together. And the first one is, I cannot prove that God is from Arkansas, but I know for sure he has family there. And his second quote is, heaven, Arkansas without the heat or the mosquitoes. That's Jimmy Peacock in Keep Arkansas in the Accent. Today is a great day to be in Blytheville, Arkansas. I hope you have one too. See ya.